Hello viewers, I'm Effie Stock and welcome back to my author channel. Today it is time for another update on cutting 20,000 words out of my third book. Before anybody gets too confused, I am dressed up as the crow today, and no, it doesn't have anything to do with this video. So let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Effie Stock and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Like all the blood, or if they didn't think there was enough. Time has run out for the Duvaharians. The end of this life is near, and the Emperor is preparing his return. Now, a little over a week ago was my last update, and I did say that I wanted to try to get all of part 2 done in a week. That didn't happen. I got sick last week. I'm still a little stuffed up, you might be able to hear. But I had a cold, we had a lot of work kind of around the farm and stuff that we needed to get done, and it just didn't happen in a week. That being said, I still got a massive amount done when I did end up sitting down to work, and I actually only sat down to work 3 times in between these 2 videos, but in that span of time, I did manage to get 3,500 words cut in all of part 2, which is pretty impressive. I think that's exactly where I wanted to be, I think, considering the last video. So I'm very, very happy with that progress so far, especially because it officially brings me down to 159,678 words, which means we are over halfway to the goal. Now, of course, what does that mean for the book itself? Well, part 2 was interesting to me. It was another area where I thought I was going to be able to cut out like a lot of big sections, and all of it turned out to be even more important than part 1. So no major scenes were taken out, no chapters were cut, nothing like that. There were a few areas where I actually thought about cutting out an entire chapter, and then I realized it would create such a information gap that I think the readers would be a little bit concerned about what was going on. It's kind of between a period of time, or like a scene where one character gets really badly injured, and then it would have completely jumped ahead to like a month later, and I thought that was too abrupt, especially considering Thaddeus's family dynamics had a lot to play in there, and especially his relationship with his father. So all of that seemed really important. I wasn't able to cut out that chapter at all. However, that being said, I did actually get to cut out my first 2 scenes. So up until this point, all of the words that I've removed have been entirely from filler words, overwriting, and being able to take out details that just didn't matter, but I haven't actually been able to highlight a whole part of the book and then just press delete and watch it all go bye-bye. Until part 2. So that was a huge relief for me, I suppose, because I knew there were going to be times that I would come up to a scene and it needed to go, and I was getting a little bit worried because I hadn't reached that point yet. So being able to reach that point really helped me to realize I am on the right track, and I'm still cutting out enough without cutting out too much. And these scenes were just kind of something I had thrown in when I was writing the draft that seemed important at the time. It ended up not being important later, and by taking it out, it kind of shortened one of these scenes so it wasn't so awkward, and it actually ended up being that the character who's a part of the scene kind of becomes more important because I took that section out. Instead of her just being like this kind of weird character, everybody's like, I don't really like her, they're actually able to see more of these hidden nuances on who she might be since I took that little awkward scene out. So I'm really excited about that. And then the other section I took out is in a chapter where Thaddeus is fighting somebody, and the reasons behind why they attack him kind of changed as I wrote the first draft of the book. So whenever I came back to it, I realized I hadn't ever fully changed their motives to kind of catch up with the rest of the story. So in doing that, I realized there was like a whole page of dialogue that pertains to the original motive that I actually could just cut for this new run, and that was extremely satisfying to do and watch all of those words completely go down the toilet while streamlining the story, making the plot way more believable. And then it actually also left room in both of these scenes for me to be able to go back and kind of weave in a couple more like subtle world building and foreshadowing, and then also kind of smooth out some of the plot dust bunnies that were hanging around, especially that fight scene in the moat is behind it. So overall, I'm very, very, very happy with how part 2 has turned out. I think it's very solid in the book now, and honestly, that scene with the fight was probably my most insecure scene about the book, and now that it's fixed, I'm feeling really, really good about this. And where do I go from here? So of course, next step, part 3. Now part 3 is the longest part in the book. It has 10 chapters and takes up the majority of the word count, so I probably will not be getting it done in a week at all. So I don't know when my next video or update is going to be, but hopefully soon. That being said, I am still not quite halfway. So currently as we stand, there's like 509 pages, and I'm still only on about 180 or 190. So I am kind of not even close to halfway yet, but that's okay because things are going really, really well, and we are already halfway to our goal, or over halfway, considering we're not quite halfway through the book itself. So maybe I'll be able to actually cut out more than 20,000 words. That would be absolutely stellar. Not counting on it. Definitely not counting on it, but I am well on my way to my goal. Now before I go ahead and end this video, I do want to give a quick teeny tiny little shout out. My mini anthology, Bleached Reminders, did just publish last Friday. It was kind of in the middle of when I was sick, so I didn't really make a video for it or anything just yet, but kind of what's going on with the crow makeup has a little bit to do with I just really love the crow, but also the Crow is a spooky Halloween story about a ghost, an animal ghosts, and that does sound a little bit familiar to Bleached Reminders. So definitely go pick yourself up a copy. It's adorable. It's teeny tiny, guys. So it'll be really quick and easy to read, and the formatting is just, of course, absolutely lovely. So in light of Halloween and the fact that I'm dressed like this for today's video, go pick yourself up a copy, treat yourself, go have some spooky fun, and may the sun smile upon your presence.